Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome to the grand final for the Invasion AMD Gaming League. This is a best of three between Lowyat.net Esports and AMD Mineski. Mineski's got one advantage at the moment from coming from the winner bracket. So Lowyat has to win the next two games or else they're going to be knocked out. But should be a pretty good set of games coming up. There's a little bit of a tension, I suppose, between Lowyat and Mineski. They've versed each other a lot of times, and often they are fairly close games. So expecting a really good best of three coming up. Thank you, of course, to the sponsors of this tournament: AMD, Invasion, eClub, Ignify Solutions, and Sapphire. And I'm Lily. Pimp Muckle is going to be doing the camera work as well as the streaming. So if there's any issues with that, please just tell him in the chat. And I'm going to be co-casted, joined by Blaze. Hello.
Hello. I'm really excited for this match. I've been casting a decent amount of Lowyat earlier today and Mineski yesterday, and they're both looking really strong. So already seeing a fun dynamic pick with Slark, and I really do think this is going to be just a slugfest.
Yeah, I kind of hope it is. I mean, Mineski, of course, known for just playing hyper aggressive, and Lowyat as well. I mean, usually they do pick up a hard farming hero for Lance, but he has been joining a lot more team fights recently and kind of participating in that super aggressive style, I suppose. And I haven't seen Slark be played yet in Southeast Asia, so I'm very excited for this first pick of a Slark. Have you seen much Slark today?
Not really. He's actually hit the first phase ban quite a bit, and when he didn't, I think he's only slipped through once. So it was still a very aggressive build and a very effective hero, but the interesting counter that we saw come into play when I was casting a game earlier was Enigma, using the black hole so that even if he's fully invisible with Shadow Dance and you can't reveal him, you can still have that ground target disable that will actually lock him down.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been saying that with this new Slark, he's really imbalanced and he's so overpowered, and I think he's very strong, but at the same time, all you really need is some kind of disable that targets the ground, and I mean, his Shadow Dance only lasts for 4 seconds, so unless he does a perfectly timed Dark Pact, he's probably not going to be able to do that much. And man, Loya responding with a Weaver, which I find a bit interesting, since I would say Slark is a pretty good counter to the Weaver, given that Weaver's main escape would be with the mobility coming out from Chikuchi, but if he does get pounced, that leash is going to make sure he can't run away. He can really just run around in circles. So, have you seen any Weaver versus Slark today?
Not versus Slark specifically, but I have seen Lance pick up Weaver twice already, and he has done a tremendous job as always, going for his kind of patented Midas into Lincoln's build and just putting out a huge amount of farm and also being a very aggressive in fights, as you were mentioning. So I'm kind of transitioning into a hero that he can be a lot more active in the early game. And as you said, the Slark does limit his mobility, but unless Slark picks up an Orchid, I don't think that he's going to have so much solo kill potential versus the Weaver, who still has plenty of tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to say, it's also going to depend on how much farm the Slark gets, because what I've been noticing from Slarks is they're going for, something like a Sanjin Yasha just followed straight up by a Basher. And if a Weaver does get bashed, he's such a squishy hero in the early game until he gets something like a Lincoln's or a BKB that would potentially kill him. But, I mean, we'll just have to say, and Lloyd also going, I mean, for a Sand King second pick, Sand King, one of those heroes that I feel like you can really leave it to the fourth or fifth pick. He's not hotly contested, I suppose. He's not really a top tier hero, and especially when there's other heroes in the pool. Like, I mean, Elder Titan, he's a hero that's banned out a lot, but I don't know if he's worth picking up. But I mean, regardless, even if not Elder Titan, they could grab something like the the Rubik or the Venomancer or I'm forgetting all the top tier heroes. Clockwork? No, Clockwork's banned. Tibasaur, he's the one I was thinking of. No, he's banned out. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Nope. The one thing I do like about the Sand King pick, though, is what you're talking about before, the ground target stun. Most of them, like the Lina and the Leshrac, have a significant cast animation delay, but Sand King's is essentially instant. So being able to Burrow Strike on the ground, obviously Lion and Nyx have something similar in feature, but him specifically might be able to counteract the Slart very directly. So I do see value in that, but as you said, they might have been able to save it until at least phase 2.
Yeah, that is actually a really good point, that this stun is quite quickly and it is a ground target one. I didn't think about that. That does make a lot of sense. But yeah, they got to watch out for this Rubik, because Rubik, who steals a Burrow Strike, is a really annoying Rubik to verse, because he's going to have double disable as well as an escape mechanism. And I mean, I think Rubik is such a fantastic pickup now for Mineski, because he also is a great counter to the Weaver, being able to steal the Shikuchi and use that to initiate in, just Shikuchi in and telekinesis, and Weaver probably going to be dying just from, the disable from the telekinesis, enough time for an ally to get in there and just destroy his face. So, I do like how Mineski also banned out the Doom, just not wanting to have to deal with the Doom on the Slark. It's very cute there.
Yeah, pretty interesting to have a hero that can really do a lot as far as taking a hero and locking them in position, disallowing them from doing anything, especially if we see the old school Orchid pickup. But the Doom is one of those heroes that can throw it right back the other way and say, okay, well, you're taken out of the fight, you're not going to be able to contribute. And Slark really likes to be able to contribute throughout the entire bits of the fight, not just like one little small part. If he can kind of ramp up over time and get some good farm, the Essence Aura or Essence Shift is actually extremely powerful as a passive. We've seen recent games in the Western scene, like Alliance picking up like amazing stacks on that passive to the point that he gets like 120 bonus agility and he just goes to town. So that's going to be the general intention here. Whether he's played in a solo role or a carry role, this Lark is going to build more towards a glass cannon type mindset, maybe a BKB, and then other than that, he's just going to try to get as many of those stacks as possible.
Yeah, that's something that I actually quite enjoy about watching a Slark is the more attack speed he gets, the more times he attacks, the more attack speed he gets. So he just ends up, if he can get a couple of stacks, he just kind of snowballs himself forward, which is why people do go for a basher rush on him. Because as soon as you get like a little bit of agility, you just keep just going and going and going. And man, Lowyat getting a Pugna pickup, this is quite interesting since they've already got a Weaver and a Sand King who aren't particularly, pusher heroes, quote unquote. They're more aggressive trailing pick-off heroes. And Pugna, I mean, normally in the Southeast Asian scene, you see a Pugna picked up with, teams that want to go for 5 Necronomicons or, really want to go for an aggressive push. So, I mean, Lowyat do have 2 extra picks. They could pick up maybe the Nature's Prophet to go in the off lane and a Leshrac to combo with the Sand King, which would give them really nice pushing power as well as another AoE stun. But I mean, just going for a Pugna as a third pick is quite interesting, and it could display, I suppose, to Mineski that they are interested in going for pushes, but maybe it's a bit of a, hey, we're picking a Pugna, what are you going to do about it?
Sure enough. I mean, yeah, it could be just a little bit of bluff play of, hey, do you want to draft a bunch of counter push just to respond to something that we're not really going to be bringing in spades? But even so, it is a very powerful hero that can control, I presume, the mid lane pretty effectively, and then adds in that little extra push. But I'm afraid that they might be drafting a little bit too responsibly to the Slark. They certainly have the tools to deal with the Slark now, with the Sand King offensive Burrow Strike when he's in Viz, and the Pugna having the defensive Decrepify on anybody that he's trying to focus fire down. But I'm drafting entirely in response to this one pick might be just putting too many eggs in one basket, and that, of course, can topple over against them pretty readily with a team that's as aggressive as Mineski and willing to put multiple core heroes in a position where they can be very offensive from really minute one.
Yeah, and I mean, Mineski, what I normally see from them, at least in the past, is they do kind of run dual lanes, or I suppose like maybe an aggressive trailing with roaming supports, but I mean, on the whole, I suspect this Slark is probably going to go, I would say he's going to go into the off lane with the support helping him out, maybe something like the Earthshaker who's going to be able to block the wave, or maybe Earthshaker blocking mid and Slark in the mid lane, something like that would be my guess, but they also have to consider now that any kind of magical takers are going to be countered by the Pugna and a Chaos Knight coming out. That was not anything I would have expected. How are they? I mean, Chaos Knight is definitely a strong hero, especially against heroes like Weaver that he can just get a 4-second stun on. That is a dead Weaver in the early game. Weaver can't outlast that amount of damage, and there's that Leshrac I was talking about. Can't outlast that amount of damage as well as
There's Daniel.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just weird. Chaos Knight's Wisp. This is the opposite of what I was expecting from an Mineski. I mean, it is aggressive, but this is just seems random. I don't know. I've never seen him play this before, so.
You haven't? I haven't either, so I wasn't sure if you had much experience with it. I mean, it kind of just seems to me like Jules is one of those carries that likes to do his own thing and then join the team fight when he decides to. With the Wisp, he gets a little bit more instantaneous aspects to that, where he can be farming, and then suddenly in the midst of the fray because of the Wisp ultimate. But all the same, I don't know if it's really going to be 100% in their favor. It certainly fits their gank-oriented mindset, and they can go and help out the Slark no matter where he's going to be ganking. So this does really force the Lowyat into a position where they have to be constantly having map control, constantly having vision, because the second the Slark finds himself in your jungle and gets a pounce off, that's going to be an easy relocate kill. But even so, Lowyat have put out the flyer that they're going to be going for 5-man Dota very early. The fact that they have the Pugna, the Leshrac, they have a lot of push potential that can at least take tier 1s at a very early stage, and the less map control Mineski are going to have, the less they can play as responsively as they want to with this Chaos Knight IO, especially with this early pressure. I mean, IO is not that great in the laning stage, more powerful when he gets his ultimate, but even so, still a bit of a limiting factor when you consider that you don't just have to worry about disabling Weaver and locking him down and taking out his full health bar from 100 to 0 before he can time lapse. You also have to interrupt a Pugna's life drain and an epicenter, a couple of channeled effects that could really wreak havoc in the team fights if you don't have them under control.
Yeah, I mean, Mineski, they've got an okay amount of disable, but I mean, it looks like Lowyat. From this lineup, I mean, what I'd be guessing they're doing is going to be running an aggressive trialing with Sanking, Pugna, and Leshrac, Dragon Knight mid, and Weaver easy lane. That would be my guess from what I've seen from Lowyat before, but I mean, I guess the best thing they can really do is kind of shut down the Chaos Knight Wisp in the early games. It's like you said, Wisp has got a pretty atrocious laning phase, and if they do manage to block out that pool camp, he's really not going to get the experience he needs, unless Mineski decides to lane the Chaos Knight Wisp in the mid lane.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even then, Dragon Knight, no, it looks like Queen of Pain's going to go to the mid lane. But I mean, even then, I don't know how much they're going to be able to do. I mean, I guess they could put Pugna as a solo easy, but I feel like Jesse Vash is really going to be able to destroy a Pugna, especially once he hits level 6. That Pugna's going to be going down. So I don't know. It's going to be a bit weird to see how these. I mean, both of these teams have gone for kind of standard lineups on their own, but with them playing it, it's not the kind of playstyle I expect that these teams to be playing, which is just a bit curious.
No, but I mean, Mineski have kind of two opportunities to take this series away. A couple disconnects right now, but I'm sure they'll get back into it in a minute. But yeah, Mineski have a different mindset a little bit to this game than Lowyat have to. Lowyat are really just having to have perfect play from beginning to end in order to try to secure this first place prize, where Mineski have a little bit more breathing room. They're a little bit more comfortable in their situation, having the one game advantage in this best of 3. So psychologically, they're like, maybe we can just do something weird, a little bit crazy, but nevertheless effective that can really mess with Lowyat. Like, even if they do lose this game, they still have the next one coming up, and Lowyat might not be as prepared, having just faced a CK Wisp for what Mineski usually brings, which of course is the clockwork and the other long-range initiators like Mirana, where they can get in and get out very quickly and cause a lot of havoc at mid to long range. So they don't have as many opportunities for skill shots, and like you said, it isn't really their style per se, but showing that they have gotten a lot of new tricks up their sleeve since they did do the boot camp recently, and maybe this will work for them. We just have got to wait and see, I suppose.
Well, the other thing worth mentioning with Mineski is that when I normally cast them, they're in the Philippines, and Philippines to Southeast Asian server gets around about 200 to 300 ping. So Mineski are constantly playing on delay when they're playing in other tournaments. So right now they're at a LAN tournament, which means no delay. They should be pretty good to just play their absolute best. And I mean, from what I've seen from them since they went to Malaysia for this tournament, they've been doing absolutely amazingly. Like they've really been playing their hearts out. And so maybe that's why they're feeling a little bit more comfortable to pick up a timing-based combo such as the Whip CK, because if you TP in a second too late into a team fight, you could be TPing into a 2v5 situation, but without the delay it means they can combo it and time it quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like, well, we can go through the players, but it looks like it is going to be a try versus try situation, so there should be a lot of excitement coming out from that, most definitely. But do you want to go through Mineski?
Yeah, starting things off, we are going to be seeing Jay playing the Wisp, or IO in technicality. We're going to be seeing Josh playing the Rubik support. Is going to be Jules running the Chaos Knight to carry it up. It's going to be on the mid lane. We're looking over at Joven playing the Queen of Pain. And then over in the jungle right now is Jesse Bash running the off lane Slark.
Alrighty, and going through Lowyat, we have got Bad Slow Game playing that. Looks like farming tri-lane Pugna. Lance is going to be farming solo easy lane on that Weaver. Shangzai is going to be playing the Leshrac. Mosin is going to be on the Sand King, and DDZ is going to be on that mid Dragon Knight, who is just straight out rushing a bottle. I can't imagine he's even going to try and get too many last hits with his physical attack until he gets a couple more levels, because that Queen of Pain will be able to harass him out quite effectively. But a really fast bottle does mean he can just spam out the Breathe Fire to get his levels and farm up.
Yeah. So as far as rune control goes, it's going to be hard for Mineski to actually rotate for the bottom rune spawns because of the fact that the IO is really tied to the lane, tied to getting experience, and really just at risk if he's not anywhere near something that he can tether. So it's going to be hard to contest it directly, but they do get a nice ward off, which sentry off, which will negate Lowyat's vision in that region specifically. So actually will give them quite a bit of control in that capacity. But right now, the aggressors are certainly going to be Lowyat. Obviously, they're in the aggressive tri lane, and they don't want to let this Wisp get to level 6 easily, not without a fight. So they are going to get some good farm on the Pugna to start things off, but they certainly are here to stay. They're moving in, harassing back Jules, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of spell spam forthcoming once Sand King could get in close range.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want to do is just shut down the CK and shut down the Wisp, but unfortunately they haven't blocked this pool camp, so that's going to be a lot of free farm to these two supports, which is something they don't want to lose. I mean, if they did have a support kind of hanging out there, maybe Sand King or Leshrac hanging out here, getting the shared experience, since now jungle experience is shared, it would be, an okay trade, but they just kind of left them to pull with no contest at all, and it looks like maybe now they're going to be going over.
Yeah.
But
Putting out some sure, at least trying to thwart the pull. They know it's happened, but there's not really too much they can do about it. In fact, Jay's even going to claim that last neutral right click. So actually going to harass Mozoon back a decent little bit. But I think that they could still turn around and actually get some big damage in the right situation. I think Jules is playing a little bit with the Reality Rift just to throw off Hawaii and try to force him back a little bit. But I don't know. They are in a good aggressive stance where as soon as like I said, the Sand King just needs to get in a good position where he can get a powerful burrow strike. And just getting a 2-man burrow or even a good 1-man burrow while somebody's out of position can be game-breaking.
Yeah, and I mean, they might be feeling ready to initiate quite soon as they do have the Decryptify up. Actually, no, initiation going to be going off by Jules now. He's going to Reality Rift in with that tether. Stun coming out into bad slow game, but nice 2-man stand by Mosin, as well as a huge nuke coming out from that Pugna. They're trying to take down Mosin, but Wisp is getting down quite low, but no, Wisp is going to be the one who falls for the first blood, but Mosin now running into the trees, but a nice Decryptify going to be stopping that last auto attack from Jules, as well as a stun coming out from Xiangzai. That's a double kill on bad slow game. Mosin making it out with a scrap of life. Really well done there by the Lowyat. 0-2 in their favor at the moment.
Yeah, 100% perfect play from Lowyat there. The way Mozoon positioned himself to make sure he got that burrow strike on 2 and then waited for the sandstorm to provide him a free auto attack on his target, securing the first blood, juking into the trees, and then getting that Decrepify to prevent the retaliation. I mean, it couldn't have been executed more perfectly, and it's going to give them a huge advantage in this try versus try, as now they're putting more pressure out, they're getting obviously more golden experience, and like we said, Wisp really does not make enough of an impact until level 6. In fact, Mozoon might go for it here. Just some right clicks to start things off.
Yeah, I mean, Wisp in a try versus try situation is really... He's not a great hero. Unless you pick up something like maybe a Coddle PL and then you can just spam out the Lancers when you hit level 3 or so. I mean, that's an okay combo with the Wisp, but... Just a CK Wisp in the laning phase against a really aggressive tri-lane with a double stun as well as that Decrepify. So if they don't target the Pugna, whoever they do target is going to get Decrepified and, given the chance to run back. So, I mean, Lowyat have really got that advantage in the tri-lane, which I do enjoy how they put the Pugna in the tri-lane rather than putting the Weaver in the tri-lane. Even the Weaver on the top lane, I mean, he's doing pretty good, but I think that Slark, like I said, I feel like Slark should be able to kill the Weaver off if he does decide to buy sentries or anything. But it's going to be worth it to just shut this CK Wisp down. Because Wisp still just level 2 at 4 minutes into the game. Just really not very good leveling.
I'm not so sure about that matchup on top. In my opinion, until level 6, Slark doesn't really have that much staying power in the lane. He's already been run out of regeneration. It's going to be a long time before the Shadow Stance will be able to bring him back to full. So Lance is able to take full advantage of this. Has forced him out of the lane once already, having a substantial experience advantage, almost level 6, when Slark isn't even at 5. And that's usually not what you want to be at when you're a melee versus a ranged hero. So now getting pressured by the tower, he just really can't go toe-to-toe with Lance, considering that Shukuchi damage output, and the fact that Lance has the Basilius and the Clarity, and just so much more staying power in the lane. So yeah, there is some kill potential with a quick rotation, but status quo as things are, Lance pulling away with 22 for 6 in the CS, compared to 14 for 0, and really just running over Jesse Vash to start things off.
But I don't think the lane should be going like that. I feel like Jesse Vash should be winning the lane, honestly. I've seen Select vs Weaver matchups before by both good and both good. Actually, hang on while I'm saying on bot lane. Jules is going to get initiated on Mosin, just going for a stun, but in comes Jay, popping that salve to just keep them alive, and not going to be seeing engagement down there just yet. But I've seen matchups with a good Slack player versus a good Weaver, and the good Slack player wins out every time. You just have to play hyper aggressive. He's the kind of hero that you have to force him out of the lane from the get go. And I am curious to see if he's going to pick up anything like sentries. No, he's just going to go for magic stick. But yeah, I mean that pounce and leap, and dark pack combo does a lot of damage, especially to heroes like Weaver that just are quite squishy. And I mean it might be a little bit too late now since Lance has already won the lane, but I really would have expected Jesse Vash to play a little bit more aggressively and win this lane from the get go.
Okay. Have you seen Jesse Vash run the Slurk before? I know it's a very recent
No.
pickup in the metagame, so
Yeah, I've never seen Jesse Vash play Slack before, not in
okay.
pubs and not in competitive matches. So, I mean, maybe his style of play is a little bit more passive. I guess it's just the most, back. I mean, before he got a change, it was quite similar, but in the early laning phase, it was pretty much the same since his skills were all the same apart from his ultimate. And yeah, people who played the most aggressive would usually win the lane with Slack.
I mean, that definitely makes sense in my head. He doesn't really have the bottle or anything like that you used to see in the mid matchups, but he still has quite a bit of potential to impact very directly with that pounce. And he does seem to be putting some pressure on Lance now. The problem is Weaver's already level 6, and he has shown that he can really just pull some muscle in this lane and force Slark back once again. But as soon as Jesse Vash hits level 6, totally different story. The passive regen from Shadow Dance will allow him to, at worst, lead the lane for about 20 seconds, and then he'll be right back in with full health.
Yeah, and that's, I think, when Lance really does have to watch out. And I mean, I feel like if Jesse Vash did get sentries or even had sentries pulled to him, I mean, he could force Lance out of lane multiple times, but without the vision, Lance can just go Shikuchi and kind of juke him around since he's only got level 2 pounce. It's not going to last, really. Well, I mean, the damage isn't really going to be enough to take him down, but oh man. Rape train coming down, chasing after... Oh! Oh, has to watch out.
Trying to find some openings here. Obviously, they are very kill hungry. They've gotten 2 for themselves, but they want more. The Sand King moving in towards not even halfway through level 4. He still has some decent potential with that second point in Burrow Strike, but he needs that third point to actually be able to initiate at long range. I really can't consider him an initiator in most of these skirmishes until he does have that third point in Burrow Strike. But the Boots of Speed certainly does help him speed him on his way. And if he does connect with a stun, say under the tower on Jules, then they can easily follow through with the Decrepify, the Split Earth, and as we saw earlier, the Diabolic Edict just tearing through their opponents off the creep wave.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it looks like their main aim is just going to be trying to get this tower down, so Mosin just looking
mid lane, lots of damage coming out. If they can get in range for the telekinesis, this should be a kill on DDZ, but they just get the Fade Bolt, and the Elder Dragon form is popped. Still a lot of damage over time, bottling up to try to survive, but he will in the end fall. Mozoon rotating in, getting a nice Burrow Strike, and the tower damage might be enough to finish Jay. No, he Magic 6 and will be able to survive just barely. Looks to Joven really wants to scream kill, but he's not going to find it. Telekinesis also does not pop Mozoon out of the Burrow Strike, but he blinks in aggressively. One more right click is needed, and he will get it, forcing the buyback of the DK, which in the end will accomplish nothing as he has no dragon to actually get the stun off at long range.
Well, that was a really nice engagement there for Mineski. Really well played by Jay, just staying the exact amount of time to get the kill on the, what was it he killed? Sand King? No, it wasn't Sand King. DK. Yeah, before being able to ride out using that tether. So really, really well played by Jay there, and still Queen of Pain diving quite aggressively, but managing to score a kill as well, and that's going to snowball her forward a little bit too.
Yeah, I think they even want to go again. They have the smoke up on the Queen of Pain. They're making a bit of a rotation with the Rubik here, and if they can catch him out away from his tower, he's completely screwed. There's really little that he can do, being slowed and stunned and so on and so forth. But in the meantime, while they were absent from the bottom lane, that gave them an opening, Lowyat, to claim the tier 1 tower on the bottom. So they will get some nice gold momentum from there, and Pugna will be seeing this mechanism at a very good time. We're talking before 11 minutes.
Yeah, that's going to be exactly the kind of item they need. And so while they have lost a little bit of control in the mid lane, they've still got control of the top lane. Actually, speaking of top lane, Lance taking a lot of harassment, and that's the kind of play I like to see from a Slark. Just the Pounce and Dark Pack getting Lance down to half health already. But I mean, I would say Lance is winning this lane. He's got up a Midas. It's really just the mid lane at the moment that's lacking a little bit. And we can see actually Josh wanting to go in. He will be able to get the telekinesis off. Joven throwing out the Sonic Wave. Huge damage coming onto DDZ, and with the rotation coming in from Jay, he's going to be able to score one more kill on that Dragon Knight. He's going down for a second time there. 0-2 on a poor Dragon Knight. Not a good start for him.
Not
of course,
great,
they are trading this bottom tower now.
Yeah, the thing is, they're still getting a huge momentum push on bottom lane. With the Edict, 2 points in it, and 3 points in the Nether Blast, they're able to clear the creep wave extremely quickly and bring a lot of hurt on this tower. We are going to see maybe a rotation on the Wisp, and yeah, they should be able to bring him down. No way to tether home or relocate away, and Jules is going to set up a stun for Jesse Vash to try to bring down Pugna, but he will Decrepify, try to TP away. unsuccessfully at that, but still trying to give an opening for at least the remainder of his allies to escape. Mozun burrow striking down the cliff, but Jesse Vash right on mark with his pounce will most likely bring him down. Here comes Dragon Knight looking for that Dragon Tail. The Dark Pack is gone. They turn around with double burrow strike. Big damage coming out onto Jesse Vash. Sand King will fall, but jumping in with the relocate, they're almost able to turn it around. Joven brings down the Leshrac, taking a lot of damage from the Edict post-mortem, though, and I think TDZ has this kill, though the blink away, and the Corrosive Dot is not going to be enough to bring him down. So, yeah, a close call, but the regen rune popped off, and it looks like Queen of Pain will be perfectly fine here in the mid.
So many exchanges going back and forth in terms of these kills, and I mean, good rotation by Jay there, just coming to help out. Sand King, though, what a fantastic stun. He's about 3 health, and he just says, well, I might as well get a stun out before I die, which secured that kill there on Jesse Vash. And so Jesse Vash came in, he didn't get a kill, which is something that you sorely needed on a Slug, especially when he hasn't had such a good laning phase. He really wants to be getting those kills to snowball himself forward, and Slug is one of those heroes, like a Husker, that he wants to snowball. If he doesn't snowball, he's going to be in a lot of trouble in that late game phase, since his strength gain is pretty pathetic, only 1.8. Yeah. But I mean, Lowyat aren't giving a second rest. They're just pushing down all these towers. The tier 2 tower on bot lane, they haven't managed to get it yet, but it's only on 500. Actually, they're going to be going in on TDZ on the mid lane. Ugh, nice stun coming out from Xiangzai, going to be catching onto Jules, as well as Joven coming out with the stun from Mozin. And looks like Joven is going to be able to blink away, but no, Jay's going to be the one to fall. So, bit of a counter initiation. All of Lowyat is in the mid lane, apart from Lance, ready to defend whoever the Chaos Knight initiates on. Yeah. There's that mech.
Trying to actually fish for a stun on Joven, but instead he's going to blink in and get a nice Scream of Pain to clean up the Sand King, who doesn't really have that much HP to work with here. A Telekinesis is going to interrupt Hawaii's TP away, and it looks like he will drop as well. A double kill for Joven, exactly what they were looking for out of this, really just redeeming themselves from what they lost from that major stun coming out from Mozun earlier in the mid lane. So they lost a couple, but they bounced back, get a kill, and are about to get a tower. But in the meantime, relocate up top. It is going to be Jules and Jay looking for a kill on Lance, but the Dust is still active. They actually get him in the Reality Rift, and there's going to be the kill. Very nicely done. Back in mid lane, we do see a lot of damage coming out. It is going to be Rubik to pick up a kill with the Burrow Strike stolen, but Dragon Tail comes out on the Queen of Pain. Joven taking a lot of damage. Nice Split Earth to lock her down, and that will be a dominating streak ended and putting a lot of rebound gold back in Dragon Knight's pocket.
So they're literally just trading kills. Someone dies on top lane, someone dies in mid lane. Bot lane, they're not pushing at the moment, but I can't imagine that it won't be too long until they do start pushing again. But I mean, Dragon Knight, he was 0 to 2 to 0, and now he's got 2.2k gold in the bank, so that's going to be his trades in the start of a BKB, or if he wants to go for that Shadow Blade for the extra initiation, he can almost afford that, about 1,000 gold for that item to be picked up, so he definitely has got what he needs now. And I mean, Pugna, looks like maybe he's going for a drum. He's picked up a bracer, so we could be seeing a bit more of a utility Pugna, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did pick up something like a BKB and an Argonim Scepter, or alternatively going for the Necronomicon for the extra pushing ability. Yeah. But top lane, Lance has got to watch out because there's 4 heroes up here. They are just waiting to take him down. Lurking in the bushes. Lance, he wants to go forward, but Josh is revealed by the smoke. Lance smells a rat, and he's going to be able to escape from that, using that Chikuchi to run away. Bit of waste of time there for Mineski now.
Yeah, a little bit here and there, but I mean, they still kind of are feeling a lot more confident about their 5v5 potential now that Rubik has hit level 6. This was a big problem in their past couple of fights, is that Rubik didn't have the spell steal available, wasn't able to pick up a Shikuchi or a Burst Strike or anything like that, but it looks like we might see a fight break out if we can close in with the stun onto Lance. He's actually going to go pretty aggressive here. He wants to start it off, going on the front lines. He has a time lapse. He pops off the Swarm and is doing a lot of damage here, but gets Burrow Striked up. We are going to see a 4-second stun on the Dragon Knight as well. Just a ton of right clicks going away, but it looks like Jay's going to fall in the back end, tries to TP away, but I think he's a goner. Now on the front line, Jesse Vash doing a lot of work with this Dark Pack, but has to head for the hills. That ultimate, the only thing keeping him alive. Jules gets a stun off, and Mozun actually misses, but the body blocks from the Weaver might still be enough to bring him down. Nether Blast, right clicks, dodges the Breathe Fire, but he still should fall in the end here. Yes, but the Burrow Strike from Josh, doing some harassment, but actually a huge overextension, as he couldn't possibly get anything out of that. But here comes Joven, trying to clean it up. Ultimate comeback, cooling off down in 3 seconds. He might have that Sonic Wave soon, but Jesse Vash is already gone, and I think Joven heads for the hills.
Well, I crashed during that fight, so I don't really know what happened other than what you were saying, but I don't know. Sounds like Joven ran away.
Yeah, was not good for Mineski. The movement from the Rubik really was an overextension. He Burrow Striked in to get a like some pinprick of damage on a nearly full health DK and then just immediately got shredded. It did give Jesse Vash an opening to put some pressure on the Pugna, but he had enough durability to make that not worthwhile. So they got 2 free kills at the tail end of that fight that actually Mineski were the ones to feed away. So not exactly what they were looking for, but they are still in a pretty good fighting stance with the fact that Joven, though behind enemy lines, does have an Orchid Malevolence as well as a regen rune picked up. So he really does have a lot of kill potential, but has to really be careful about when he times it. We do see Relocate coming on the mid lane. They go for the Orchid on Pugna, as well as the slow, the stun, and the ultimate. Everything they need to bring him down. Looking for Mosin as well. They will get a Scream, a Reality Rift, and steal on the Sandstorm. Not really what they were looking for, as now they lose the Queen of Pain to a great Split Earth, and the Relocate leaves Rubik high and dry. Josh all by himself uses the Sandstorm to dodge the Swarm, but I don't think it's going to be enough as stuns lock him in place, and he indeed falls.
That was a unfortunate little Queen of Pain there. She used everything she could to take down a Pugna, and I mean, Pugna fell before he could even pop the mech, but she then paid for it with her life, which is not really what a Queen of Pain wants. And especially since, I mean, during this time, Lance has been helping out with kills, but also getting his farm up, and he's almost got up that BKB, so that rushed Orchid, it'll definitely be handy for, you know, picking off the Sand King, the Leshrac, the Pugna, but Weaver, who's the primary character, they really need to have that lockdown to take down. Queen of Pain is not going to be able to solo kill him anymore unless, you know, Weaver makes a big mistake or goes in with the BKBs on cooldown. So that's going to be one of the, I would say, their main initiation tools on the Weaver, just gone already, or will be gone in around about, well, he's got 400 gold in the Midas and Roshan, so not very long, a minute or two.
Indeed. The Mechanism coming out, as well as some damage from the Edict. They're going to be able to take Roshan down at a pretty good time. They will, of course, pick it up, and it looks like DDZ is the one to claim the Aegis, so in a pretty good position to just stay in the fight very aggressively and not have to worry too much about the defensive aspect, since he does have plenty of innate durability. But I want to point out one thing that decision-making from Lance that I really do commend is the fact that he went for the BKB over the Lincoln Sphere. He, of course, has shown that he loves to build the Lincolns and picks up an early ring of health to make sure that he can speed his way there. But in this case, it's not going to be enough. The Rubik with just a quick Fade Bolt to cancel out a Lincoln's means that they can launch just an entire arsenal of spells to lock him in place. The Chaos Bolts and the Telekinesises and so on and so forth. So it is a lot smarter to pick up the BKB and be able to, despite losing duration every time you use it, fight more actively in the next few minutes. He is going to be finishing that up, and actually just 50, assuming Jesse Vash doesn't have his way with him. And yeah, Lance is just going to have a really good time now that this BKB is just about done.
I mean, it also shows...
Oh, Relocate actually on him, but okay, he will break out of the pounce. And actually, Jade relocating alone, I've seen this a couple times. There's really very little point in a Wisp relocating all by himself. He really needs to bring somebody to the fight to actually get the kill.
Yeah, that was a little bit crazy there by Jay, but I guess Jules must have just ran away. Jules wanted more farm. Lord knows Jules likes his farm. Man, Lance now wanted to go 1v3, but at the same time he's making a really good distraction because there's 4 heroes barreling down this top lane. Dragonite popping the ultimate form, Netherward's dropped down, Shangzai's ready to go in, and Dragonite actually, with that Shadow Blade and the Aegis, he feels comfortable to just dive. No other word for it, but with that tower down, they've now got the blink up on the Sand King, so that's going to be a really nice initiation power for them. And I think teamfights now are going to get really hard for Mineski. There's still no BKB up on Jules, which is an item he really needs. Queen of Pain went for that Orchid, so no BKB up on her. She's only got 1k health, and against all the nuking damage, especially that Pugna Netherward, if she throws out the Sonic Wave with the Netherward up, with 1k health, 360 mana cost on the Sonic Wave, I mean, she's going to be virtually dead on maybe 200 or 300 health just from that. So that's something that Joven's really going to have to watch his positioning for. And I mean, last team fight, we did actually see CK pop the Phantasm and then use the Illusions to take down the Netherward, which I thought was really nicely done by him. But, I mean, at the same time, even the Phantasm costs 200 mana, so that's, you know, 450 damage straight away onto the Chaos Knight, who only has 1.5k health. I mean, on the whole, I think that this, all the items coming up from Lowyat are going to be able to give them a huge advantage in team fights, and I think they feel that too. They're going to be taking down the second last tier 2 tower, and I would be surprised if they immediately rotate bot and get down all the tier 2 towers.
Yeah, Rubik's completely dead man walking. DDC with the Shadow Blade initiation, nice little stun, and this should set them up for the tier 2, no problem. Like, at this point, Mineski might as well just push the tier 1 on top, because there's no way that they're going to be able to retaliate without Rubik getting a good steal off. But they do, of course, have to draw the line at the tier 3, but it's actually going to be a little bit difficult because of the Blink Dagger pickup on Sand King. Like, just kind of giving this huge initiation and counter initiation utility in this hero. It's going to be very devastating if Mozoon really does get the appropriate epicenter off, and he's going to be looking for it in just a moment. Though Jesse Vash, a double damage on Joven. They're going to try to force them back using this fortification.
Yeah, and not to mention, of course, they've still got the Aegis, but they're going to be initiating on DDZ. Jesse Vash getting a beautiful pounce on, but it doesn't matter. In comes the Epicenter. Only going to be hitting onto Joss and a little bit of Joven, but Joven, oh, that Sonic Wave with the Nether Ward, he just self-destructs and blows up. And in comes Jules, manages to, no, take down nobody quite yet, and now Mosen's on the run. He's quite low. Bad Slow Game getting very, very low, but he just pops that mech. Jay is just going to be able to rotate out, but Queen of Pain, who's come back into the team fight, buying out, trying to take down anyone, and Jay is about to just suicide as soon as he TP's back in. Unless he brings someone with him. Looks like Lowyat are going to be playing it quite safe. They've still got the Aegis up, but Jesse Vash coming back in. They're going to be missing the stun coming out from Xiangzai, and it looks like Lowyat are going to be happy just to back out for now.
Yeah, so they won't claim the racks, but they did put some decent damage into them, and of course they got a huge kill advantage. So not overstaying their welcome, they probably want to wait for the next epicenter cooldown. Sand King's moving in rapidly towards that level 11, and he's going to be even more formidable at this point. It's very rare that you get to see a Sand King pick up a Blink Dagger around 16-17 minutes, but though Imozun has been able to pull it off with all the assists he's racked up, he's just going to be able to start contributing more and more to the fights. Arcane's up as well, and the combos are just going to keep rolling for him, and it actually makes it very difficult for Mineski to make the right call as far as singling out certain targets like Lance, farming it down here perfectly safe and sound. A couple of reasons. Of course, he has great mobility and can see the relocate coming from a mile away, but also there's always the possibility that Lowyat is lurking in the shadows, pops a smoke at his seat, and is hiding right behind him, waiting for the relocate, charging up the epicenter, and able to just completely destroy anybody who shows up to the party.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see by the map control, if the wards compared from Lowyat to Mineski, in addition to the towers, I mean, Lowyat have really got control of this part of the map. I mean, Mineski are safe inside their base, but other than that, and I suppose a little bit of the jungle, I mean, it's all in Lowyat's control. And Mineski, they're trying to get some wards up. They did put down one ward, but I wouldn't be surprised if that does get dewarded soon. Otherwise, the map is completely black. They have no idea when anyone from Lowyat is, and you can kind of sense by the gameplay. I mean, Jesse Vash is on the bot lane, but he's got a teleport scroll, and as a Slark, he can get across the map in a matter of seconds. So they are going to be trying to trade a T1 tower, but Lowyat, they're ready to go in mid. Like you said, Epicenter's going to be back up in 10 seconds. The Aegis is going to be dying in 30 seconds, so they probably want to make a play now, but they should be good to just get this racks down. Xiangzai is pushing way too quickly, and that is going to be the mid racks just falling right there.
Oh, Jay gets stunned out by DDZ. A lot of damage coming, and the Wisp will fall to the Lightning now on the front line. There is some decent damage from the Sonic Wave, but Queen Pain just melts to that Nether Ward, and now there might not even get away with the Slark. He will pounce to the high ground. Looks like he has escaped, but he really didn't get much out of it. The Queen of Pain finish off the Pugna. That's about it. And actually, they get the Burrow Strike on Jesse Vash, so he will drop as well. That's a double kill for the Weaver. That's your racks, and they're not going to stop. Now that backdoor protection's down, they can go for the top tier 3.
Well, I mean, their pushy potential is just amazing in the early game. Even without the Pugna, you know, they've still got the Dragon Knight, and Ingo's Jules actually going to be initiated to DDZ. The Aegis has been taken down, so he has to watch out, but no, Jules just can't withstand the damage, and Jules is going to be the one who falls. Even with the BKB popped, he can't outstand the damage coming out from Lance. Josh now wanting to go in, maybe taking down DDZ or Xiangzai. Both are very, very low, but he feels a little bit too scared. Jay is saying, just do it, do it. But no, I was not as aggressive as Jay, so I wouldn't be surprised though if Jay just force relocates OA into all of them. But it's not going to matter because they're all running away now. Off they go. Oh, but they do catch that as Xiangzai. Is Xiangzai going to be targeted? They're going to target Xiangzai? You can see they're pinging him out, saying kill him, kill him, kill him.
Yeah, the CK wants blood, but he's not going to be up for 10 seconds, and they're not sure if they can pin him down with anybody but the Slark, and considering he's on the opposite lane from the Wisp, they're actually not going to be able to organize quickly enough to actually pick him off. Still, fun to try to plan it out, scope it out, and see those opportunities, but the fact that they were so defensive, trying to defend their high ground on the top lane, the fact that they weren't going to go on that Dragon Knight just because he has that armor, has maybe magic wand charges, and the Rubik really can't contribute that much with just the Shikuchi stolen. I don't know. I can understand their perspective because these Sand King stuns have been on point. The follow through with the Leshrac and the Dragon Knight have also just provided so much hard disable that can completely turn things against them very quickly. As we see, of course, Lowyat does have a 21-13 kill advantage, and they've taken towers left and right, so they can't really afford any more losses, and that means Mineski, unfortunately for their playstyle, can't take risks.
Yeah, I mean, Mineski, they're really backed into a little bit of a corner at this point. And I mean, look at all the BKBs picked up on the side of Lowyat. Even the support Leshrak has got a BKB. And I mean, Lance, like we said, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Dragon Knight get one, though it looks like he's just going for pure survivability with the Heaven's Halberd and, I mean, the Shadow Blade to initiate in. But still, I mean, they just don't have the physical damage really to deal with heroes that have got BKBs at this point in the game. I mean, Sand King's pretty much the only hero I feel like they could take down, and Pugner, I guess, but he's also got that Decrepify to save his life. So, I mean, Mineski are really going to have to consider how exactly they want to take these fights. Jesse Vash doesn't have his BKB up, so he really can't dive in. He's going to be taking way too much damage from the Diabolic Dating in the Epicenter. Queen of Pain, she just gets absolutely destroyed by that Nether Ward. She can't use any of her spells until it's down, and they can't really go in until she goes in and clears a bit of space for her team. But it looks like Lowyat are just going to be playing a little bit safe now. They've got the mech up on Jay for Mineski, so they might want to defend this next Roshan. But Roshan's not going to spawn for another minute or two, so it could just be a brief lull in action while they both just try and get some farm and wait for that Roshan.
Yeah, that's going to be really where the big final fight comes into play. I think they're going to smoke up and try to put some aggression out maybe before it spawns, not knowing exactly when it's going to be up, but they want to try to get into that pit and make some waves here. But either way, the smoke is coming out for the Sand King, and he has similar intentions, just a little bit delayed. This mech couldn't have come out at a better time, though. Jay, having that available, the 2.5x heal from the mechanism could really help Jules here, but the initiation goes on Xiang Zai. He pops his BKB and is still able to get a stun off, turning it around. The reality will come out. A lot of right-click damage coming on, but he can't seem to find a focus target. Lance is here, Epicenter's here, Mozoon doing a lot of damage. Jules dropping down to the last right-click of the Sand King, and that is pretty much going to stop the fight in its tracks for Mineski. Like, they'll try to clean something up here. Slark bouncing away up the high ground, but Mozoon tracking him down with a Blink Dagger. Very nicely done. Josh just trying to find his opportunity to TP, or maybe he is going to go for like some big Age of Steel play. I don't know, but has the Shikuchi, still sticking around at least for the moment. Blink Dagger kind of coming in, the Sand King just tracking down and finding out the Queen of Pain. If she can't initiate, if she can't get a good Sonic Wave off, there's no hope for this Roshan. And it looks like because this relocate bounced back the other direction, they want to go in hard on Jay when he does rebound. And he actually brings back the Rubik, which I can't imagine why he did that. I guess as a final nail in the coffin, GG.